my name is Alicia Davis. This is my little reindeer helper, and this is my final presentation and project for grant writing, HSP 371. So I wanted to use this class as an opportunity to get some real life experience with doing grant writing. I have found a passion for macro social work. I have seen so many gaps, so many problems with, to me, obvious solutions. And as a person in recovery, and as an SUDPT and someone who works in a nonprofit and who recently started my own nonprofit, I think that knowing how to write a grant is huge. I think with all of the political climate right now, there's so much happening with grants, and that's why it's even more important to know how to write a grant correctly and in a way that's going to communicate something positive, right? I see even in my nonprofit, right? I love my job, but I've seen waste, and I've seen structures that don't work. Not even necessarily the nonprofit's fault per se, but just structures that don't work, which is why I wanted to create a wraparound service that actually works, that could eventually be self-sustaining, and that could also bill insurance. So I have a nonprofit, and it is called the Reclaim Foundation. This house that I'm in right now, I'm in my daughter's room, and this would be a room that houses one person for Washington State in Snohomish County. It is 50 square feet per person, and so for most of the bedrooms I could do 2 or 3. It really depends on how affordable I want the housing to be versus long-term stay. So I think there is a balance, and I have been reaching out to both Tulalip and Snohomish County Reentry, and I have in my downstairs 2 separate spaces, one that could fit 2 people, another one that could fit 3, and then to have that be like the kind of space that goes through very quickly, and then upstairs would be something that is a little bit more long-term. So when I talk about intent, I'm writing on behalf of Reclaim Foundation, a developing non-profit organization based in Marysville, Washington, dedicated to restoring dignity, stability, and opportunity for individuals rebuilding their lives after addiction, mental illness, homelessness, or financial hardship. Our mission is deeply aligned with Seattle's foundation long-standing commitment to advance community well-being, strengthen behavioral health system, and reducing inequities throughout Washington State. So for me, I made my nonprofit really broad. My passion is substance use, but I also wanted to encompass mental health and just general homelessness. Also, I think that business model, keeping it more broad, is a little bit better, just for someone starting out. There's specific funding that can cover mental health, some that can cover housing, and honestly, housing is such a barrier for so many people, and learning about housing first treatment. And I'm able to see just being a housing case manager before my job now, I see that it's not enough. You don't make enough money. And for someone with a serious mental health condition, or someone trying to get themselves into recovery, once you do and you're working a job for 15, 20 hours a week, you can't really pay for it. So right now DOC gives $600 a month for a room, and you'll have a damn hard time finding a room for that price. The cheapest clean and sober house that I have found while working in housing, which would be a shared room, co-ed, and I would say improperly ran clean and sober house, is $650. That's the cheapest I've seen. Maybe cheaper exists, but it's really a challenge to find this. So what I wanted to do, the Reclaim Foundation is currently preparing to launch its first major project, a clean and sober recovery residence designed to serve adults from transitioning from inpatient, homelessness, or unstable environments. This home will offer safe, structured recovery-focused programming and connections to resources that support long-term stability. The program addresses one of the region's most urgent needs: stable recovery and transitional housing for people exiting treatment or in crisis situations. So eventually I hope to reduce this so that it is able to be something more specific. But right now, just with insurance and actually getting something off the ground, my vision right now, and I know that could change, but it's probably going to be men. Most likely they will not have children, and I just don't have the capacity to house families. I wish I had more money, and I would. So the name Reclaim Foundation, I did this because I really like the idea of reclaiming yourself, reclaiming stability, reclaiming who you were before substances, before homelessness, getting in touch with your roots, which brings me to my next plan, which I did not write about yet, but which I am working on. So I love gardening. When I first got off of heroin, I started gardening. Can you hold on, please, ma'am? So I started gardening, and that really helped me. Hold on. You're okay. She's trying to nurse. Hold on, please. Can you wait a second? And so what I did was, for me, just touching dirt, being in nature, and then, you know, how wonderful it is to actually produce vegetables. You know, now my property has 3 apple trees, 2 cherry trees, plums, figs. I have kale and broccoli that comes back. I have Brussels sprouts, asparagus. So what I was going to apply for is a micro garden grant, and I wanted to attach that to the Clean and Sober. So basically what I've learned through not just this class, but also the entire program, is that I want to have something that is accessible to all, create solutions, you know, and I want something that that really changes people's lives. And I think that, come on, Susan. I think that the answer in that is affordable housing. And I think it's also long-term solutions is giving people a chance to be independent and have their dignity. I think that this model is different because this one teaches independence while still being a level 2. So there is more structure. And as I pursue my MSW and eventually my LICSW, perhaps I could even run like an outpatient out of it too. And then maybe even get to a bigger building. I think that there's so many people that need this long term. I've seen so many of my clients quite literally just slip through the cracks, and it inspired me to create a solution. And I think now, pursuing my MSW, I have the ability to create huge change. So I'm very excited to see where this goes. And I'm already working on a micro garden grant. I am Black, Mexican, and Native, and so through this I've also looked up some grants for women business owners, Indigenous, yeah, so I think that this is a huge skill that everyone needs to have. I put a lot of thought into this. This is not just for a class, this is my passion, and I want to create a sustainable solution, you know, for people to get their lives together, because there is hope. And I think that when we come and we approach problems from a therapeutic standpoint, we're able to create bigger change. Thank you.